This report tells us how to cut waste, cut red tape, streamline the bureaucracy, change procurement rules, change the personnel rules, and create a government that works better and costs less.
By paying for these plans first with cuts in government waste and efficiency, second with cuts, not gimmicks, in government spending.
We'll prove that we can spend the money we have in an appropriate way and stop wasting so much of it.
But over the next several months, we will be looking at every other agency and program, asking the direct question, do we really need this agency? Do we really need this program?
20 years into a period in our history where most American wage earners are working longer work weeks for stagnant wages. It is outrageous for the government to have rules and regulations which take those people's money from them and spend it on things that cannot be justified.
One of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending.
And joining us with more, White House Press Secretary, the one and only Karoline Leavitt. I got these clips today, and I looked at them, and I said, oh, wow, they wanted to be Donald Trump, but they weren't able to pull it off. What's your reaction?
That's exactly right, Sean. If you just watched that video, but shut your eyes and listened to the words from those Democrat politicians, you would think you are listening to President Trump, Elon Musk, and our entire administration, who are saying the exact same things that Democrat politicians promised the American people they would do for decades. President Trump is just the first president in our lifetimes to actually do it. And now you see the Democrat Party and the mainstream media spiraling out of control about a very simple promise: rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse from our federal bureaucracy. This is a promise President Trump campaigned on. He is now delivering on it. And I've been fighting fake news reporters all day long here in the Washington, D.C. swamp, who are trying to fearmonger the American people into believing that this administration is going after their hard-earned tax dollars and their hard-earned Social Security checks. So I want to set the record straight on your show tonight, Sean, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do so. President Trump has directed Elon Musk and the DOGE team to identify fraud at the Social Security Administration. They haven't dug into the books yet, but they suspect that there are tens of millions of deceased people who are receiving fraudulent Social Security payments. And so their goal in going into the Social Security Administration is to identify three things. Number one, to identify duplicate payments and to end them. Number two, to identify payments that are going to deceased people who are no longer living and should no longer be receiving that money. And number three, to protect the integrity of this system for hardworking Americans who have been paying into it their entire lives. So rest assured, to all of the people watching your show tonight, if you paid into the system honestly, you will continue to receive your Social Security checks. Do not buy into the lies from the legacy fake news media who are trying to fear you and scare you into believing otherwise. This is what we've seen them do about President Trump for years with every promise that he has made. And he's going in there to protect your hard-earned money. That is the ultimate goal.
Okay, now they have apparently found 8.7 million Americans who are listed. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know if they're being paid, but they're listed and they're on the Social Security roll. Their names are there that are over 130 years old. 8.7 million Americans listed, and as Elon said, far more eligible Social Security numbers than there are actual citizens in the U.S. But we don't know yet if checks are being sent to either individuals that are dead or maybe family members that are receiving them. We just know their names are still on the list, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's exactly right. There are a lot of unanswered questions, but that's exactly why these Social Security employees, I may add, are digging into the books and going line by line, because past administrations have refused to do this very time-consuming but necessary work. And I want to emphasize that these are Social Security political appointees. With every change of a new administration, you have new political appointees, just like me and my colleagues at the White House, who onboard to serve the elected president. That's called a democracy. And for far too long, we've had a bureaucracy that has been running these agencies. And look at what has resulted in. Tens of billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse every single year that we know of. And so these DOGE employees, these Social Security employees are onboarding as Social Security Administration employees, political appointees, and they have every right to administer President Trump's agenda. And that's their main focus with this effort, not just at Social Security, but of course at every agency, as you know.
I don't want to give away the interview tomorrow with President Trump and Elon, but I can give a few headlines. There's no conflict between them. There's no power struggle. There's no ambiguity as to who the president is. And what I observe both in front of the camera and behind the camera are people that had a great relationship. I don't want to give too much away. People will decide for themselves. You were there for a lot of it. You agree?
I definitely agree. And I witnessed this relationship firsthand every single day in the Oval Office and at the White House. And President Trump has tasked Elon Musk with administering his America First agenda, just like the rest of us who serve at the pleasure of the president, but most importantly, serve the American people. More than 77 million Americans re-elected President Trump to promote monumental, fundamental change, to shake up the Washington swamp. And there's nobody better than Elon Musk to do that. He is a once-in-a-generation business leader. He sent rocket ships to space. He's far smarter than many of the people who are grunting and moaning on Capitol Hill about these efforts are. And he's the perfect person to help President Trump with this effort. The mainstream media wants to drive a wedge between their relationship, but they are failing. And our entire team is unified behind President Trump to deliver on the promises he made to the American people on the campaign trail.
All right, that is this week's Hannity White House briefing with White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. Karoline, great to have you as always. Thank you.